So, you have your eye on a Capricorn. And if you have spent any real time around this person, you have probably noticed something that is quietly unlike most people you meet. They are composed. They are capable. They move through the world with a kind of deliberate competence that feels almost rare in its consistency. They do not waste words. They do not waste effort. And there is something about that self-possession, that unhurried, unshakable quality of someone who genuinely knows who they are and what they are building, that is remarkably compelling once you have been close enough to feel it. So of course you want to be closer. Of course you want to be the person they let in. This video is not going to be coy about that for a single moment. What it is going to give you is a real and honest map of how a Capricorn actually moves in love. Not the cold, workaholic caricature that follows this sign around and causes so many people to misread them entirely. That version of Capricorn is a distortion. The reality is that a Capricorn who has genuinely chosen someone loves with a depth and a steadiness and a practical devotion that is genuinely extraordinary. They are not cold. They are careful. And the difference between those two things matters enormously when you are trying to understand how to reach this person in a way that is real. 3 dimensions of Capricorn romantic psychology. What genuinely draws them toward someone, what makes them shut the door before it ever fully opens, and what they carry underneath all of that composed, capable exterior that most people simply never take the time to find. The first mistake people make when pursuing a Capricorn is trying to rush the timeline. And this does not always look like overt pressure. Sometimes it looks like declaring deep feelings very early. Sometimes it looks like pushing for labels or definitions before the connection has had time to establish itself on solid ground. Sometimes it looks like trying to manufacture intimacy through intensity rather than letting it accumulate through time and genuine shared experience. All of those approaches tend to produce the same result with a Capricorn. They become more measured, more reserved, more carefully distant. Not because they are cold or uninterested, but because something in the pace feels off to them, and a Capricorn who senses that something is off will slow down rather than speed up. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, ruled by Saturn. Cardinal means initiating and purposeful. This is not a passive sign. Capricorn has direction and intention in everything they do, including love. Earth means grounded, practical, and oriented toward what is real and lasting rather than what is exciting in the moment. And Saturn. Saturn is the planet associated with structure, patience, time, and the principle that anything genuinely worth having is worth building properly. A Capricorn has absorbed that principle at a very deep level. They do not trust what has not been tested. They do not invest in what has not demonstrated staying power. And they are genuinely suspicious of anything that seems to be moving faster than the evidence supports. What this means for you is that the most attractive thing you can offer a Capricorn in the early stages is not intensity, it is quality. The quality of your engagement, the consistency of your follow-through, the alignment between what you say and what you actually do over time. A Capricorn is paying attention to those things with more precision than you probably realize. They are not running a conscious checklist, but they're building a case, quietly and methodically, for whether you are someone worth the investment of their genuine trust. The concrete thing to practice here is simple and it requires real self-discipline. Do exactly what you say you will do, every single time. Small things matter enormously to this sign. If you say you will be somewhere, be there. If you say you are interested in something they shared, come back to it. Let your reliability accumulate into something they can feel. That steady, unforced trustworthiness is the foundation everything else with a Capricorn has to be built on. The second thing people consistently misread about Capricorn is their reserve in the early stages of connection. A Capricorn who is genuinely interested in you will not always look the way you expect interest to look. They will not gush. They will not flood you with attention or make grand demonstrations of how much they enjoy your company. They might seem almost businesslike in the way they engage, present, attentive, asking real questions, but not showing you their hand. And people who are used to more expressive signs often read that restraint as indifference and either give up or start performing harder to get a more visible reaction. Both responses tend to backfire. Here is what is actually happening. A Capricorn reserves their emotional expression for situations where it has been genuinely earned. Saturn's influence shapes someone who understands that real feelings are not casual currency. They are not given freely to everyone or displayed openly before there is a reason to believe they will be handled with care. When a Capricorn is quietly attentive, when they remember what you said, when they show up consistently without making a production of it, that is the emotional expression. It is just delivered in a register that many people do not know how to read. The absence of drama is not the absence of feeling. For this sign, it may actually be the opposite. The insight here is about learning to receive a Capricorn's language of care rather than waiting for them to switch to yours. Their care tends to be practical. It shows up in actions rather than declarations. They will help you solve a problem before they will tell you how much they care about you. They will show up when something is hard before they will make a romantic speech about how they feel. And if you can recognize that language and genuinely appreciate it rather than consistently needing something louder, a Capricorn will feel understood in a way they rarely do. The concrete thing to do is this. The next time your Capricorn does something practically caring, something they did not have to do but quietly did anyway, acknowledge it directly and specifically. Not with excessive praise. With genuine recognition. Tell them you noticed. Tell them it meant something. That specific acknowledgement of their specific effort will land more powerfully with this sign than almost anything else you could say. The third dimension is the one that most people who pursue Capricorn never reach at all, and missing it means missing the most important thing about this sign in love. Here is the misconception. Because Capricorn presents such a capable, self-sufficient, thoroughly competent face to the world, people often assume they do not need much emotional support, that they have everything handled, that what they want from a partner is primarily companionship and practical compatibility rather than genuine emotional depth or tenderness. And so people never offer it. They relate to the capable surface and stay there, assuming that is where Capricorn prefers to live. That assumption leaves a real and significant gap. Because underneath all of that Saturnian composure and all of that self-sufficiency is someone who carries a great deal. Capricorn takes responsibility seriously, for their work, for their commitments, for the people they love. Often for things that are not entirely their responsibility to carry, but that they carry anyway because they do not easily trust anyone else to handle what matters. That weight is real. And it accumulates. And a Capricorn who has been carrying it for a long time without anyone genuinely noticing, without anyone offering to share the weight or simply acknowledging that it exists, develops a kind of loneliness that they rarely name out loud, but feel with considerable depth. What a Capricorn needs from a partner at the deepest level is someone who sees past the competence to the person underneath it. Someone who does not simply rely on their capability or admire it from a distance, but who occasionally, genuinely asks how they are doing with everything they are carrying. Not in a way that implies they cannot handle it. In a way that makes them feel less alone with it. That distinction is important. A Capricorn does not want to be rescued or managed. They want to be accompanied. And the person who understands that distinction, who shows up beside them rather than simply benefiting from their strength, is the person a Capricorn will begin to open up to in ways that will quietly surprise both of them. The concrete thing to practice here is to ask your Capricorn a real question about how they are actually doing. Not small talk. A genuine inquiry into something they are working through or carrying. And then listen without rushing to fix it or minimize it. Just be present with what they share. That quality of unhurried, genuinely interested presence is something a Capricorn experiences as genuinely rare. And rare things for this sign are worth holding on to. When you bring all three of these dimensions together, what forms is a clear and specific picture of what a Capricorn is genuinely looking for in love. They are not looking for someone to dazzle them or sweep them off their feet or fill their life with excitement. They are looking for someone real. Someone whose reliability builds into something they can genuinely trust over time. Someone who understands and appreciates how they express care, even when it comes without fanfare. And someone perceptive and present enough to find the person underneath all of that capable, self-possessed exterior and offer them the simple, profound gift of being genuinely known. That is a specific and meaningful thing to offer, and it cannot be performed. A Capricorn has been reading people carefully for a long time. They know the difference between someone who is genuinely showing up and someone who is strategically presenting the appearance of showing up. What lands with this sign is what is actually true. Your real reliability. Your real appreciation for who they are beneath the surface. Your real willingness to be present with them in the places they rarely let anyone go. If those things are genuinely available in you, if that is who you actually are, or who you are genuinely growing toward, then you are already offering something a Capricorn will find worth taking seriously. And a Capricorn who decides to take you seriously is one of the most committed, steadfastly devoted, and quietly extraordinary partners you will ever have. They do not choose lightly, but when they choose for keeps. And they will build something with you that is solid and lasting and real in a way that will make everything that came before it feel like practice. Has there been a moment with your Capricorn when the composed exterior gave way to something warmer and more unguarded? A moment where you saw how much they actually feel underneath all of that self-sufficiency? Share it in the comments. Those moments are the real heart of this sign, and I genuinely want to hear what you have found. If this gave you real insight into your Capricorn, make sure to save this video and come back to it. Drop your questions and stories in the comments below. Like and subscribe for the full series. And good luck, you've got this.